Good morning, folks. We're out on another ride today and doing something a little bit different. Today I decided to do a little around the town video. Just kind of a little tour of Fairmont, starting out down here at our local park. As you can see, a couple of videos that I've done, I've been down here. The park's been empty. As maybe you can see, they're setting up at the pavilion. It looks like they're going to do some sort of concert this evening. Might even be some type of graduation, I don't know. Looks like they're setting up for a choir. But anyway, like I said, I thought we'd do a quick trip around Fairmont. I downloaded a new app to try and record my video or my trail. Should have a map and show a bunch of the things that I've been wanting to add, such as elevation and things like that. I'll see how it turns out whenever we get this trip done. But if you don't see any picture of my route from this app, then you'll know it didn't work. But I'm hoping it does. I think it would give you a little bit better idea of the terrain that I'm going over during these videos. And this is just in town, so I'm not gonna be hitting any major hills or anything on this trip too much. But like I said, we'll see how it turns out, and I'll post the video or a snapshot of the route that I took and everything. So we're on the east side of Fairmont. We're going to go across this bridge over to the west side. And the Mon River here that we're crossing is what separates the east from the west side of town. I took the advice from one of my subscribers and decided to come out real early on a Saturday morning, hoping that I would miss a lot of the cars, a lot of the traffic, be able to get around town just a little bit easier. And it looks like that's working out. So this is always a busy intersection. Let's see what we have here. Up we go, folks. This is a pretty sizable incline, so whenever I said we weren't going to go up too many hills, that meant in general. There's still a few hills around here. This is kind of the main street a little bit. The Veterans Square. Thank you to all the veterans out there. This is a memorial to veterans of Marion County. Let me see if I can take a picture while this is going. Okay, now as soon as I'm leaving, I see a sign that says bicycling prohibited in this area. But there's nobody around, so hopefully it'll be all right. Okay, here we go. West Virginia State Office Building. And there's the city police office, police station. A pretty major road here. It's fairly empty this morning, being Saturday. I don't know what she's doing. Stopping right in the middle of the road. Now there are a lot of bikers out there that video going through cities like Washington, D.C., New York. This is little old Fairmont, West Virginia, but it gives me a bigger appreciation for what those guys do. This is basically no traffic compared to what they do and have to deal with, and it's a little bit off-putting to me already. But you know, the thing about being out here on the streets, we're not going to see too many bicyclers. West Virginia is not a huge bicycle area, at least most of it. I know the college towns, Huntington, down where Marshall University is, and Morgantown, WVU, there's a decent bikers community, but as for the state as a whole, you rarely see bikes. And I had another subscriber ask me if we had any bike clubs or anything up here. Well, I'd be lucky to get maybe one or two people to bike with me around here, unless it's my wife whenever she's able to get out. Now I have seen in this area of town, there's a guy that has put a gasoline engine on his bicycle. And I see him up through here all the time. This road here, we're going to end up going up to Fairmont State University. One of my sons, actually he's my third oldest out of 4, just completed his freshman year here at Fairmont State University. FSU, not to be confused with Florida State University. This is Fairmont State University. It's on up here, but anytime when the semester started, I used to drive him over here for classes and then pick him up. He wasn't real familiar with this part of town, and I used to see that engine-powered bicycle up here all the time. I think Saddle Tramp would be interested in seeing this guy's little setup. But like I said, I never have really seen him around town too much, but up and down this part of road a lot. Almost every morning I would see him coming up through here. And it took me a while to figure out what was going on. I thought he had an electric motor. But it seemed like he was always drifting whenever I was going by him, and then one day it was nice and warm. I had my window down and I actually heard the engine, so it kind of looked like a regular mountain bike. But anyway, he goes up and down through here quite a bit. I've also seen and he was an older guy, at least in his 50s, so he's at least my age, probably a bit older. And then I've seen another guy around town that has a Saunders electric bike. I see him over by my house every now and then, but he's a younger guy, probably late teens, early 20s, well, probably about early 20s, early to mid 20s. But he has a Saunders bike. I've seen him around a few times. But other than that, I haven't seen any other powered bicycles, either by engine or motor or electric motor. Those are the only two. Before I started videoing my rides, and before my wife's hip got bad last year, we were up on a trail in Morgantown, and I passed a lady who was riding electric XP step through. We stopped and talked for a minute, but she's the only person that I have seen up there that has one. I do have a friend that has an electric mountain bike in Morgantown, but he mainly goes out to mountain bike, dirt mountain trails that I probably wouldn't do with mine. All right, now here's Fairmont State. This is where my son goes to school. He's actually finished for the year. They start early and end early. So there's Fairmont State. With this app, it tells you to stop and take pictures from time to time. And I don't know, it's supposed to put together some kind of a little ride video. Like I said, I've never used it before. It's called Relive. I'm just kind of testing it out today. I have no idea how it's going to work, but we'll see. We'll take some pictures and see what results we get. Yeah, this Fairmont State, it has really, really grown. Back when I was in college, I went to I started out an undergraduate with a pretty small college, Glenville State. And it was I guess what you would consider a Division II or Division III school. It was and Fairmont was the same way back then. It was what they would call an NAIA school, I guess, back when I was there. But this school has since moved into, I guess it's one division below the major colleges. But they have really built this place up. And it's a really, really nice campus. And my son really enjoys going there. He likes it a lot. See, there's our hospital up on the hill. Our hospital's up there on the hill. Used to be called Fairmont General, I think. It actually went out of business, and West Virginia University Medicine bought it. So now it's part of WVU's hospital. I don't know what you'd call it, the healthcare system. I guess WVU runs it now, so that's WVU Medicine Hospital. WVU Medicine has bought pretty much all of the hospitals in this state, it seems like. And I guess that's kind of a trend. Before I pass it, over there is McAteer's restaurant. Got the best breakfast ever in that place. Very inexpensive, and your plate weighs about 5 pounds when they bring it out. It's like an $8 or $9 breakfast. I mean, it's crazy. All right out here, this is interesting. Well, I don't know how interesting it is to you guys, but this was our COVID testing area. They had the testers set up in this little shack. Cars would come down here, line up, and get in line and have your nose swabbed right here. Wait for your results. Well, right after New Year's, this year, 2021, I had a low-grade fever. It was right about 100 degrees, I suppose. My wife, being an RN, she thought I should come down and get tested, so I came down and got tested. The next morning, my fever was gone. I felt 100% normal. I thought, man, this thing's going to come back negative, and this is going to be a waste of time sitting in this line. Couple days, but just to be safe, I slept in the guest room. I wanted to stay away from the rest of the family, just in case. You know, I'm always more of a safety guy. If there's a chance, let me go ahead and mitigate that chance so that I don't spread anything if I have it. But I didn't think I had anything. About 3 days later, my results come back and it's positive. So yeah, I wound up having COVID. And I have to tell you, I've had colds worse than COVID. I had that fever for, like I said, just a few hours one evening. Oh my goodness, this hill. Oh, I wasn't prepared. That's me gearing down, and I'm having to go side to side because this bike would not make it if I was not pedaling. All right. I could keep going out that way, but the only other way to get back into downtown is a road that has no sidewalks. It's very narrow and heavily traveled. And the cars are going about 40, 45, so I'd rather not go that direction. But anyway, so yeah, I ended up having to quarantine. I basically stayed up in my bed in the guest room for 14 days, feeling 100% fine. So that was pretty rough. It's bad enough to be locked up in your bedroom whenever you're feeling bad, but whenever you're having to lock yourself up in a bedroom and you're feeling good, that's even worse. So about 2 days later, my son had to get COVID tested before they started school for this second semester. And so he went down, got his test, came back, his was positive. So he had to quarantine for 14 days, and he never did even have a symptom. So I don't know. I've been told that if you've had it, it's just about like being vaccinated. Chances are you probably won't get it for the next 6 to 8 months. So that's kind of how I'm operating right now. My wife has been vaccinated, but the rest of us haven't. I've also heard of several Division I basketball players being vaccinated and wound up getting COVID a little bit after. So you just never know. Just be careful, wash your hands, don't get up in people's faces. But in this state, you know, we never did have it very bad. I think we may have had 100,000 cases, I think. If somebody checks it, I might be wrong, but it was pretty close to that as of now. But anyway, we're gonna go back out this way, because like I said, I don't want to get stuck on that dangerous road. We're going downhill now, so I'm just drifting, having a good time. Let's see, trying to decide which way I want to get back up into the main drag. I think I'll go up this way. Yeah, I'll go this way. I believe this takes us up past Fairmont Senior High School. West Fairmont High School, whatever we want to call it. I think technically it's Fairmont Senior. We have an East Fairmont High School as well, over on our side of town. Both AAA schools, but they could not be more different when it comes to sports. West Fairmont has won a state soccer championship a few years ago. They've won a couple basketball state championships. I don't think they won a football, but they're always pretty competitive. They had the Steele brothers graduate from here that are two really good defensive players for WVU. Actually one of them's leaving early this year, going to the NFL. Well, he's not early, he's graduated. But that's Fairmont Senior High School in front of us. This is where my wife graduated from. Alright, now we're back on it again. Just stopped at Fairmont Senior High School where my wife graduated. You know, in West Virginia, it's pretty uncommon to grow up in a town and stay in it your whole life. Most people nowadays graduate, go off to college, and they leave the state. Anyway, I've got a group of guys that I graduated with. I've known since, well, pretty much all of them since kindergarten. One of them or two that I've known even before kindergarten. We were all the same age, all the way up through school together. Graduated high school, and all of us are either out of the state, except for one. He's, I think, still in the town that we grew up in. But all the rest of us either left town. I think 3 of us are still in West Virginia. But the rest of them moved out of state. We've got a couple in Ohio, some in Virginia, and then some in the other states. I actually lived in Virginia for a little bit of time, about 7 or 8 years, and then I moved back because I just like the lifestyle here. Everybody's so friendly. A lot more friendly than they were down in Virginia where I lived. Everybody was so clannish. You know, if you were a new person that they hadn't met before, or they didn't know your family, you know, it was tough to kind of get in with them. Loud chain. This is a pretty steep incline here. You know what? I think I'll go this way. You know, it's nice and cool this morning. Up here's an interesting place. This house up here on the hill, this was owned by a coal magnate. He was a big time coal mine owner and operator, and he lived in this house, which is basically sitting right in the middle of Fairmont. And it actually now belongs to, I don't know, it was a funeral home for a while. There's a family that owns it now that they live in a section of it. Okay, Ross. It was kind of known as Ross Funeral Home. I guess one section of it is still the funeral home. And this is part of it too, right here. And it pretty much takes up this whole block. And they kind of have 2 or 3 different dwelling areas. It's called, this one's Highgate Carriage House, but it's connected to this, which is Ross Funeral Home, and then the people that own it actually live in a section of it. I'm not exactly sure how big it is, but it is massive. And I guess this is actually the front side. On the other side of the house is kind of the main thoroughfare. It's Fairmont Avenue. And that's the side that I've always seen it from. I don't think I've ever come up this road and seen it from this side before. But we'll see it on the other side coming back. But another section of it they use for weddings and graduations and all kinds of things. But yeah, it takes up this whole area, this whole block. It has really nice gardens. This is where they do a lot of the weddings, and you can see they had a big tent there. A little koi pond, flowers. They always keep the grounds really nice. But anyway, my wife knows the people that own that place, and I guess they still live in there. So this is kind of the strip where a lot of the eating places and things are. Fairmont Avenue, this is kind of the main thoroughfare, like I said. There's some Dunkin' Donuts up here. If my wife was with me, she'd probably want to go in there and get some coffee. Whiz on by. There's a little place called Puffer Bellies, food and ice cream. They have pretty good hand-dipped ice cream there. It's a nice drop off. Yeah, that was a nice one. Good grief. You can tell these sidewalks have been here a while. They're not handicap accessible. Ugh. Now up here's a real interesting place called the Pokey Dot. Now this place is based on kind of a 50s era restaurant. They have food and ice cream as well. You get a banana split there, and it's good for about 4 people. They've got a little place out back you can sit and eat, but everything is in, you know, weird colors, pinks, purples, and things like that. Thought I'd just roll out this way a little bit. I haven't seen this area. Actually, let me go ahead. I just wanted to see what the houses look like out through here. Nice little residential area right off the main strip. Steeler flag. Go Steelers. I only live about an hour and a half away from Pittsburgh, so got to be a Steeler fan. Little used car lot. You know, this road goes on and on, but it's not too bike friendly. And it's pretty high speed once you start going down, and then it connects with a different section of town. So I think I'm kind of going to stay away from that. See if I can get across the road here. Long John Silver's. I used to love Long Johns. My grandfather, when I was a kid, on Sundays after church, he would always want to drive out and get Long Johns. So I kind of grew up loving it. It always kind of reminds me of being with him. And that's a nice dog. Hi. Morning. But it's a big dog. So we'll just kind of amble back along this road. For those of you that are still here, my sister kind of, let's see, my sister kind of outed me to one of my friends I was talking about earlier, and told him about my YouTube channel. And I'm actually part of a group text with all those friends I was talking about earlier, and we message each other back and forth. And he kind of put out a text to all of the guys about my channel. So it's weird, but going back to thinking that your high school friends are watching you kind of puts me back in the state of high school where I was really shy. This is the other side of that house, by the way. I was telling you about the Ross Funeral Home, whatever else you want to call it, convention center. Yeah, I think the people that my wife know that own this place live kind of back here on this section where that Forerunners parked, where that deck is. The rest of it's kind of commercial now, but it's hard to believe that one family used to live in that place. Oh gosh, here we go again. What's this sidewalk? That's a pretty big step up on this big tire heavy bike, I'll tell you. Got Gwen Tire. If you're ever in Fairmont and need some tires, they're pretty good. We buy tires from them quite a bit. Little G-Wagon. Don't see too many of those around these parts. Gas is $2.99 here now. Curious what gas is where you guys live. Especially you guys down in Texas. Saddle Tramp, and I think there's some maybe one or two other people down in that general area. Just curious if your gas has gotten up to $3 yet, or if it's lower. Before the presidential election, our gas was like $2.40, $2.30. I think it even got down to $2.20s or so. And now it's all the way back up to $3. I don't like talking politics on here, but it's just kind of interesting that it started going up. The oil pipeline that's supposed to go from Canada down through Pennsylvania, West Virginia, to Virginia and the Carolinas, I think, got shut down. I think the first day of the presidency. So they lost a lot of gas and oil jobs. in this area. Now here's In-N-Out Tire. This is where I've gone the last 2 or 3 times to get tires. They're really good folks. Got a set of tires on my truck that should have been about $1,400, and they sold them to me for $8 because they were 1 tire short. They upgraded my tire and took off all that money. They're really good people. So we're still on Fairmont Avenue. Now I'm going to go back across a bridge that I haven't taken you guys across before. And we'll see how that goes. It's a pretty narrow walkway. So if I wind up meeting someone, we'll probably have to stop and let them pass. And let's see, it's a giant drop off. Let's see if we can weave through. Oh yeah. Whoever said these big 4-inch tires weren't nimble? That'd been funny if I would have just flopped right out in the street right there after saying that. Oh my, okay. Say that looked like a big drop off. Actually have a ramp. There's a good bit more of the city, but I kind of covered a lot of the highlights. I don't want to make this video too long. I try to make them no longer than 30 minutes, right at 30 minutes. I don't want it to be too long where somebody can't sit down and, watch a whole video, or have enough time to watch a whole video. I know you can come back, but I don't know. People have short concentration spans. This is I don't know what the name of this bridge is. There's a sign back there, but I call it the curved bridge going over the Mon River. Yeah, I think I'll head back to the house. Got a few things I've got to do. My daughter has something at school that she's doing. Some sort of a book program for the summer. She wants to go down and pick some books out. We recently disconnected our dish. We're paying a tremendous amount of money. We hardly ever watched it. And we switched over to YouTube TV. It's got local channels, I don't know who that was, but he must have thought I was somebody. Maybe he has an electric bike. But, or maybe it was somebody I knew and just he got a new truck. I don't know. But anyway, we switched to YouTube TV called Dish because YouTube TV was less than half what we were paying for Dish. And we still get our local channels with our local news and all that, as well as most every other channel, except I lost the History Channel. That's the one channel that I would watch other than some of our local channels. I like those outdoorsy shows, the swamp people, and I don't know, all of those types of shows, the alligator hunters and stuff. So I lost that channel, which I wasn't real happy with, but maybe it'll get me out a little bit more, not having my channels to watch. Alright, this is kind of a wide intersection here. Oh, let's see how we can get across. Go this way. I haven't been up this way. Let's check this out. That's a nice little area. This is where we come to watch fireworks on 4th of July. Come through here and sit, actually all the way up through this interchange, and they let the fireworks off on that big bridge that we first came across in this video. Hello. This is a pretty nice little incline here. This is a nice little bike trail up along the new interchange they put in, the new access point. If you wanted to come into Fairmont a few years ago, you had to come into one of the two ends, and then you'd have to drive all the way through town and everything to get where you wanted to go. This is one of the 3 roundabouts I talked about on an earlier video. There's 3 of them up through here. But they keep this area nice. But this, they just put in, and as you can see, it goes right to downtown Fairmont, which makes getting in and out of the city part a lot easier. But yeah, we sit up along through here, and they set off the fireworks down here off of this bridge. So this is a pretty good vantage point during the 4th of July. We have something down at that local park, Palatine Park, that I go to, that I showed you earlier. They were sitting up there at the pavilion. They set off fireworks there. We have what we call the 3 Rivers Festival. Lasts for a week or so. And I think every night, or at least the last night, they set off fireworks here as well. But it's a nice little park area. Our local liquor store. But yeah, we're back on the east side now. And oh, I didn't finish my story about the the dish on the YouTube. But anyway, Dish sent us a box, and now I've got to climb up on the roof of our garage and take down the dish and send, I guess, the head part, I don't know, the part that receives the signal, as well off of that, as well as the box, the inside box, and mail that back to them. On one of my videos before, it was the one and only one that my wife was with me on. We were taking our internet service provider modem back and sending it off at the UPS store, and they told us that they had probably, that they had anywhere from 20 to 30 people coming in with boxes, either sending back their internet service provider thing where they had switched, or their Dish or DirecTV dishes. Oh, I dog it. Maybe I should leave that in. But anyway, they told us that they were having 20 to 30 people a day bringing their Dish stuff back and internet service provider stuff back. So I guess we'll have to go down again because we're sending our Dish stuff back now. Alright, we're pretty much back where we started. Looks like we went about 7.3 miles, probably closer to 8. And we were at about an hour. And I have about 47.5 volts. That'll probably go up just a little bit, but yeah, again, we were going up and down a lot of hills, a lot more than I thought that we were going to get into. But again, this is, you know, a bigger than normal person riding this bike, and it gets, you know, it's gotten me all over town, and I could probably take another trip just like that. Knock it up to 14 to 16 miles in a couple hours, going up and down some of these hills that I went up, and pretty easily. I had somebody ask me if it would last for 4 hours, the battery. They were thinking of maybe using this bike to deliver food, and I think you could, especially if you were, you know, in a flat city and you weren't having to use a lot of current when you were riding. But yeah, around here in this town, I don't believe I could. unless I had a second battery. But yeah, it would be tough here. But anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. Like always, enjoy the comments. I think I'm going to head back to the house now and take care of a few things. But until next time, God bless, and we'll see you on the next video.